So I stitched up his face and tied that off and brought the tail in, and then I attached another piece of yarn at the end of that stitch, and I've begun to stitch up his chin, the rest of his face and the chin, and about a third of the way down the neck, and you can see that it is still open so that I can now stuff the head. And right now you can see that the head looks really small compared to the body and the legs, but it'll really get bigger once I start stuffing it. So I can just go ahead and start stuffing the head. And you'll be surprised how much stuffing you use as you begin stuffing, and the head sort of starts to take shape. Make sure you're pushing it into the nose, stuffing into the nose, and then up into the head, and then stuffing the neck. And as you're stuffing, you can make a couple more stitches in the neck. See, it looks pretty strange right now. You can continue a couple more stitches, then add some more stuffing until you eventually end up stitching all the way down to the end of the belly stitch that you did when you first started stitching up the horse. So I just stitched down the neck, down to between the two front legs, made a knot, and now I have this tail. And I just want to show you what to do with it. Because like always, you don't make a cut close to the knot. What you do actually is right by the knot, you put the needle into the body and you sort of work your way through. You have to sort of wiggle the needle a little bit until you can get the needle to just push right through the body. And it might take a second just because the wool is really dense inside, because we did such a good job packing it in really firmly. But once you can get the needle out, or wiggle it out, see, there it is, you go ahead and pull that through, and you'll see here you're pulling that tail right into the body. And once it's all the way in, you can take the needle off and see that it's coming out the back of the horse. Grab your scissors, you pull on this thread a little bit and cut it right close to the body, and the yarn will pull back in, and then it's just gone. It disappears, and it's inside the horse, and it won't come back out and won't cause you any trouble later on. It just disappears, which is exactly what you want. And now I'm gonna attach a piece of yarn right between the back legs at the end of that stomach stitch from before, and stitch up between the legs and up around the back. But right before I do that, I'm gonna add a little bit more wool into the back and the belly of the horse so that it's really firm, because especially if this is a toy for a child, this is where they'll hold it. And if it's not firm enough, the yarn or the wool will kind of deflate, and you'll end up in the end eventually with a really skinny horse. And that's okay, but it's not necessarily what you want. So really pack the wool in firmly, and then go ahead and stitch up the back. I've gone ahead and stitched up the back, and now the whole body is stitched up and ready for embellishing. And it looks weird right now, but once it gets the ears and mane and tail, it really changes the way the whole horse looks.